This is from Flava, flava.co.nz. I'm going to read his quote from there and then give, my piece on it. So this is him here. Sometimes I don't sleep well. You can hear me starting to stutter and slur my words, he said. My memory is not that good anymore. I'll forget something I did yesterday, but I can remember the shit I did years and years ago. That's just the price I've paid, the price of being a fighter. But I fought a lot of drug cheats and copped a lot of punishment from guys who were cheating, and that's not right. This is no longer in quotes. Hunt has been a strong advocate against the use of performance-enhancing drugs throughout his mixed martial arts career, notably filing a lawsuit against former UFC fighter Brock Lesnar following his defeat to the American wrestler last year. And then back into quotes. If you take away all my fights against juicers, it would probably be half of my fight record gone, said the Super Samoan, who currently has a 13-11-1 record in MMA. I used to be a little bit naive. I didn't realize this until after the Brock Lesnar fight. I would sign fight contracts on the presumption that my opponent was clean. When they break that contract and cheat, it's like trying to fight a shark in the ocean. Doping has been a part of the sport for a long time because there is a lot of money at the top. No longer in quotes. Hunt, who has 3 fights remaining on his UFC fight contract, is set to next step in the octagon in November when he takes on Polish fighter Marcin Tybura in Sydney. Before I give my opinion on that, or what the potential things that I see going on there might be, what's your take?
I mean, I looked this one up, and it seems to me. Well, let me say this: my opinion of it changed once I realized he's still taking another UFC fight. This is before another UFC fight that he's got coming up. He's fighting a UFC fight now, I think 121. So it's not so bad that he doesn't have like fully blown Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or something like. He's not so bad that he's like, I'm not gonna fight. I think he's highlighting it, and honestly, I completely empathize with him, and I pretty much have his back on this one. Like, he is playing up the fact and highlighting the fact that, like, again, like I said, fighting is not a game, and I think specifically with Brock and maybe some other guys too, because he was in Pride, he's fought these juice heads who juiced up and beat the fuck out of him. And he's suffering the consequences. He sounds like he's owning up to it. He's saying, this is the price I paid for being a fighter, but I didn't essentially sign up for people to cheat. And, he's in the middle of this lawsuit or whatever, and I think that's part of it. He's saying, look, this is why I'm suing. Because, yeah, I signed up to be a fighter, but I didn't sign up to fight, these type of opponents. And I'm suffering, It's not like a question of ego, like, my mind's gone. So my mind is going, my brain is paying the price. Those are his words, paying the price for what he's doing. And I can understand that. I think he's highlighting that. But again, it's not so bad that he's not fighting, Like if he didn't recognize his daughter or something, I'm sure someone would step in and say, all right, I think we're gonna stop fighting now.
Right.
Obviously, he's still functioning at some high enough level to take another fight.
Right. So, I am in favor of his push to further clean up the sport. I'm in favor of that. I'm in favor of him being like, hey man, there has to be some kind of consequences for this whole doping and PEDs and things like that, because there are very severe life-altering consequences to the person who is on the receiving end of it. So when someone gets busted, they need to have serious consequences. I completely agree with that. I'm in favor with it. That being said, the skeptical side of myself has to kind of wonder how much of this is his lawyer, because the lawsuit, as far as I'm aware, is still going on. Is his lawyer saying, hey, we need to play up the damage that's been done to you, so start speaking publicly about how ill and how badly affected you are. Like, I have to wonder, is his speech slurring and doing these things that he said it is, or is this a ploy to kind of boost his argument in court? Because remember, prior to the Brock Lesnar fight, he made comments about, I don't give a fuck if Brock Lesnar juices, I'm still going to beat him up, so on and so on and so forth. So I'm kind of on the fence with this one.
That's fighting talk, though, you know.
True.
Yeah. I don't think you necessarily have to hold him to that. But yeah, I mean, and he does say, like, he's just taking responsibility. He's saying, like, yo, I did step in the ring. Like, I know what you're in for when you do this stuff. So it's kind of a bit of, I think it's a bit of both. Like, I think he does have, probably, he is feeling the effect, you know, mentally, like his brain and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And just physically, like, he is saying, yo, this takes its toll on you. But he's also, like he's telling the truth in that regard, but he's also playing up that fact. And another thing is, he's been talking quite a bit about how fighters don't get paid enough.
Yeah.
You know, he said something about how you get 200, 300 grand. If you're top 10, you get 200, 300 grand a fight, right? Half of that goes to your manager. Half of that goes to tax, sorry. Half of that goes to tax. So you're left with like 100, 150. And then half of that goes to your camp and your manager and your sparring partners and so on and so forth. You know, those are expenses. So you're left with 50 to 75 grand, you know, and you fight twice a year. You're not a millionaire by any chance, any stretch of the imagination. And to get beat up and then have to fight juice heads and then have to deal with these physical consequences by the time you're 40, right? Because no one really fights past, you know, that kind of 35 to 45 range.
Right.
There's a shelf life on being a fighter.
Yeah.
And then you have all these injuries, mental or physical. You know, is it enough money? Considering you're top 10, I agree with him. I don't think they are getting enough money. And then he's kind of piling that on. He's saying, look, this is another thing that we have to consider, is the fact that we're taking this brutal punishment too. You know, it's not like we're working an office job. And he's just shedding light on the realities of being a fighter and showing that it's not all glitz and glam. Even if you're winning all your fights, because Mark has won most of his fights. He's one of the top UFC heavyweights around.